Hello aspirants, I welcome you all to daily newspaper analysis of Shankar IAS Academy. Today's date is 25th of February 2025. Displayed here are the list of articles that we are going to discuss today. In this first article, we'll be discussing in detail about the solid waste management rules, and in the second article, we'll be discussing about the recent twist given by Mr. Donald Trump, President of US, and in the third article, we'll be discussing about E-Rupee that has been newly launched by different banks and how it will work in aligned with CBDC. And in the fourth article, we'll be discussing in detail about the cotton capital, which is nothing but Maharashtra. So without any delay, let us get into the article discussion. Now look at this article. This article talks about a Supreme Court ruling. Supreme Court has recently asked the states in NCR to submit a report that highlights the compliance of solid waste management rules. So here the NCR region includes Delhi, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh and Rajasthan, and the court also stated that if the segregation of waste is not happening at the source, then the implementation of many projects like smart city project or even the waste to energy project will go into vain. So from the prelims perspective, we have to know about what is the solid waste management rules is about. So let us revise them one by one. So let's start with under which this particular rules was notified. It was notified under Environment Protection Act 1986. So the implementation of the rules is managed by Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, and 2016 the jurisdiction was expanded to urban, industrial, railways as well as airports and etc. Here the source segregation is nothing but segregating the waste as degradable and biodegradable. When the segregation happens at the source, the local bodies who are collecting the waste will decrease substantially, and the time employed for the segregation, everything will be decreasing substantially. And here there is a third category called hazardous. Here residents can even split hazardous waste like e-waste and all separately. Now the collection and deposition, it is actually taken care by ULBs from door to door. No burning should be involved after the collection of the waste, and the processing plant can include composting and waste to energy plants. Now talking about the user fee and fines, the ULBs, they have the right to put on spot fine if the segregation is not happening at the source. But the issue here is most of the collectors, waste collectors, they are not aware of this particular thing. Now apart from this, the rules integrated the waste pickers, especially from the informal sector, and the manufacturer responsibility. Here the manufacturers, they have the particular responsibility to collect all the waste that they generate after manufacturing or giving it to the consumer. So here the recycling, all the non-biodegradable, is the responsibility is placed upon the manufacturer itself. And finally, landfill management. Here the non-recyclable, non-biodegradable, non-combustible waste or ended up in the landfills, and even the landfills which are actually contaminated should be remediated. So those kinds of rules are included in this SWM Rules 2016. In 2014, a recent amendment has been made. Let us see them one by one. Firstly, the monitoring reporting has been increased. So this will bring in a very big transparency, and people can actually be aware of what is happening when it comes to solid waste management. Secondly, the single-use plastic has been banned, and this will actually bring in a lot of impact in the environment. Thirdly, the user fee and penalty has been standardized, and the stricter fines has been brought in for both littering and non-segregation. And apart from this, the extended producer responsibility. So here all waste types throughout the produce life cycle will be included in the manufacturing responsibility. And finally, the safety gears, providing the safety gears for the informal sector people is also highlighted. And finally, the decentralized process, where the community composting and biogas plants placed at the respective colonies has been also recognized under this particular amendment. Here in this tabular column, I have given the actual differentiation between 2016 and 2024 amendments. You can just quickly go through it. With this, we can just solve this particular prelims question. With reference to the difference between the solid waste management rules 2016 and the recent amendment, consider the following statements. Here, two statements are given, and you have to find which of the statements given here is or correct. So here the correct answer for the statement is option C. Both the statement given here are correct. So these learned points. Now let us move on to the next news article discussion. Now look at the title of the article. Trump shakes Transatlantic Alliance with Russia pivot, Europe in shock. So the article entirely talks about the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war, and here Russia-Ukraine war, when we take about this particular crisis, US has been always in the side of NATO. And after the election of Mr. Donald Trump, currently Mr. Donald Trump has asked for bringing in peace in the Ukraine region. And if you are asking how he is going to bring in peace, he is telling about bringing in a negotiation with Russia. So this decision taken by US has actually shaken Europe very deeply. And he has actually called Mr. Putin as a dictator without elections, and he has blamed Ukraine for 2022 Russian invasion. And he has actually prioritized US interest by taking this particular decision, and he has downplayed Ukraine's war's impact, and that is why it is becoming a very big issue here. And the other important thing that you have to remember is this ultimate unilateral decision has been taken by US without consulting the EU, and this also goes against the principles of NATO. Now here in this map you can see the transatlantic region. Here all the cities that I have just mentioned is very important. Suddenly UPSC will be asking which particular country borders North Sea, or which particular country borders Atlantic Ocean. So those kinds of questions will be asked in the preliminary question. And having seen that, we have to see about the European Union's reaction. Here they have fear of Trump being abandoning the rule-based order, and Europe, they are relying on US security for the past 80 years, and the current decision of US president has actually sparked a very big shock in European Union, and it has actually asked US not to fall for the trap that has been posed by Russia. And this particular decision will impact Europe, because it will push Europe to take more responsibility than the superpowers of the world. And there is also fears of weaker alliance if the particular superpower gets negotiation with another particular superpower. So all these are the important facts that you have to recall from this particular news. Here I have a prelims question based on the discussion. The North Atlantic Treaty resulting in the establishment of which of the following? Here the correct answer for the question is option A, NATO. So these learned points. Now let us move on to the next news article discussion. Now look at this article. According to the article, a lot of fintechs has actually launched CBDC wallets, and this shows that RBI's E-Rupee has brought in a better adoption or greater adoption when it comes to CBDC. So from the prelims perspective, we have to know about two important things. What is the CBDC, and how bringing in a lot of CBDC wallets by the fintechs will actually benefit the common people. So let's start with what is the CBDC. CBDC can be expanded as central bank digital currency. So it is actually launched by the central bank, and it is nothing but the digital form of cash. So you'll be having physical form of cash, but the central bank, in our case it is RBI. If the RBI is issuing the digital form of rupee, then it is called as the central bank digital currency. So this currency that has been issued by RBI will be actually marked as direct liability like the physical cash. And the important thing is it will be secure and stable, and it will be stored in the CBDC wallets. So here comes the question, what are these CBDC wallets? See, RBI, they will be bringing in rupee in digital format, and in this digital format you can purchase it only by having a bank account in certain banks. So being a pilot project, only certain banks offer this particular service. For example, the SBI, Yes Bank. So those kinds of banks, only limited amount of banks are currently available. So in these banks you should have account, and this account, using this account you can create a digital wallet. So from this account you can transfer money to this digital wallet, and you can purchase the money that is issued by RBI. So this CBDC in the digital format, you can use it for anywhere. It is actually applicable anywhere, like the physical cash. Now moving on, we can see about the types of CBDC wallet. First is the retail CBDC wallet and the wholesale. When we talk about the retail, it is for public and everyday transaction, and it is like person to person P2P and person to merchant transaction. And here mobile apps, bank portals and the smart cards can be used. And for the wholesale, here they are talking about banks and institutions. So the bulk amount of transactions is what here they are talking about. So it will be used for settlements, cross border and interbank transactions. Moving on, we shall see about the key features of E-Rupee. The first one is it is safe and secured and highly trusted because it is backed by RBI. So it will maintain the value as well as be stable, but it is not insured against inflation, just like physical cash. The cash in the form of digital format is this CBDC. Secondly, it is a programmable money. It is smart contracts and automatic refunds can be happened. So we can tell that it has reduced the issuance cost itself. Now the third important thing is interoperability. It can work with UPI but with a different operational mode. That's it. But both the UPI and this CBDC are similar, but it is issued by the central bank itself. So you can differentiate it with UPI, I guess. Now the digital bank wallets and the transaction. Currently, the Cred and MobiKwik and S Bank, they have brought in the CBDC wallets, and it has allowed for P2P and P2M transactions. The transaction limit is actually being in a pilot project, and it has been limited very concerningly. Moving on, we shall see about the benefits of the CBDC and the E-Rupee. See, the first thing is safety and security, as I said earlier. See, currently people are investing a lot in digital rupee, especially in bitcoins. So instead of being a unauthorized, decentralized currency, instead of investing in them, the RBI they have itself brought in a particular solution for that digital rupee, and that is what is CBDC. It can be relied upon, and any person can use it in our country. Now the second important thing is it will reduce the cash dependence. Physical cash dependence is, and the issuance of the creating issuance cost will be declining. Thirdly, it brings in financial inclusion, meaning even the remote places you can access it. Fourthly, it is even useful in offline transactions. They will be bringing in future features like offline transactions. Currently, since it is being in pilot project, it is not bringing. They have not brought in the offline transaction, but in the future, this feature will also be there. And finally, it is the fastest transaction, instant settlement like the physical cash, and it will be reducing the third party dependency. Now moving on, we shall see about the prelims question. Here three statements are given. Here the correct answer for the particular question is option A, 1 and 2, 1B. Third statement is actually incorrect. It can actually work alongside other digital payment system like UPI. So with these learned points, now let us move on to the next news article discussion. Now look at this article. This article talks about the Global Investors Summit that happened in Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh. So our Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, has asked for a big push for investment in the particular state. And here it has he has actually mentioned about Madhya Pradesh as the cotton capital. In the inter part, I said it is Maharashtra, but not. Here the article is actually talking about Madhya Pradesh. So we have to talk about two important things. Certain facts from the article, and what are all the basics about cotton. We shall see them one by one. See, the first thing that you have to remember is Madhya Pradesh have the potential to be top 5 GDP states, and we have to explore Madhya Pradesh growth. This is what the entire conversation that Prime Minister Narendra Modi had during the summit, and he has mentioned about the textile and tourism sector's potential. For example, 25% of India's organic cotton is coming from Madhya Pradesh, and it has largest mulberry silk producer, and they have a GI tag, for example, Chanderi and Maheshwari saris. So those kinds of saris, they have GI tag. And when we talk about the tourism growth, they have tribal areas as well as the Narmada river, and all these has contributed to the potential of tourism and even textiles. So, having seen that, we shall see about the basics of cotton growing states and cotton. Here in this map, you can see the cotton growing states. Very important. You can just go through it and you can make note of it. We shall see about the cultivation facts. First thing is the soil that required for cotton cultivation is black soil, especially rigor, well drained. So the very fascinating fact about the black soil is that it can shrink during the summer season and expand during the winter season. And the temperature required for the cotton cultivation is 21 degrees Celsius to 27 degrees Celsius, 210 for frost free days. This is a very important keyword. Even previous question UPSC has asked this particular fact. And talking about the moisture, light to moderate rainfall is required. Irrigation is required during flowering and ball formation. And it is actually a carob crop planted between June to September sowing and harvested in October to February. Major producer states: Gujarat, Maharashtra, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, and Madhya Pradesh. And it has a very important economic contribution. For example, they are the textile raw material that we export to other countries even. And moving on, we shall see about Madhya Pradesh support for cotton. Madhya Pradesh has a black cotton soil, especially in the Deccan Plateau, and it has the warmer climate and a long frost-free period. Water resources, we have Indra Sahar as well as Omkareshwar and Kundalya, which is actually 2 lakh hectares. And we have agricultural initiatives like PKVY, which is actually a organic farming incentive scheme. So having seen all that, here we have a prelims practice question. Consider the following statements regarding cotton cultivation. Here two statements are given. First statement says cotton requires high temperature and a frost-free growing period. Second statement says well-drained sandy soil with low moisture retention is ideal for cotton cultivation. Here obviously the correct answer of the question is option A, one only. Second statement is incorrect. So with this, we came to the end of the news article discussion. If you like the video, hit like, do comment, and don't forget to subscribe to Shankar IAS Academy YouTube channel. Now thank you so much for listening.